Hi, we are here today with Keith Medley with Final Phase Inspections, and I asked Keith to be here so that we can get some information on how to maintain our homes, whether it's spring cleaning or whether it's fixes that are important to be around the house. What would be important? And so Keith, thanks so much for coming. And if you could let me know a little bit about what should homeowners be thinking about when they're looking to keep their home up.
Well, thanks for having me, Sandy. Thank you very much. And one of the things to think about for spring maintenance is to also remember that we just came through winter. So spring maintenance is about preparing for spring, but also about recovering from winter.
Okay.
So there are a number of things that we look at both on the outside of the house and the inside from that perspective. And remembering that wintertime is about cold weather, it's about moisture, so you have more expansion and contraction in the wintertime, which can make for a little extra attention for your home.
Mm-hmm.
So if we look at the outside, if we start at the outside, I would say the most important thing is to look at the gutters.
Okay.
But not only the gutters, well, remember in wintertime, if we've done our winter maintenance, our fall maintenance, we've cleaned the gutters. But generally, there's some leaves, there's some things left on the trees that will come down in the wintertime and kind of fill those gutters back up.
Right.
Now that we're getting ready to enter into the rainy season, if we don't clean those gutters, which may also be clogged downspouts, then water will build up in the gutters and potentially cause moisture damage up in your fascia and potentially eaves.
How does that happen? Because I know a lot of times people look at the gutter and they say, oh, it's just in the gutter. So how does that become a problem?
Well, what happens as your gutters and downspouts fill up, then the water not only comes over the front of the gutter, but it also will come behind the gutter between the fascia board and the gutter, and potentially also go behind that and wick back into the roof sheathing or potentially into the eaves.
Okay. So you're really talking about the gutters are kind of like a first stop response to making sure that you're keeping the roof and the siding to be in good condition.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's really a big part of the recovery from winter and preparation for spring, because we're in the rainy season here in the Northwest.
Right.
One of the other things is to cut back vegetation. We're right at the season where here in the Pacific Northwest, all of our plants are starting to come into bloom. And while they may have been cut back in the fall away from the home, they're about ready to go through a very large growth spurt.
Right.
And your plants and trees that could be overhead can create paths for moisture to get to siding, for limbs to come down on roofs, and even paths for insects to get to the siding. So it's really important to keep vegetation cut back in tree limbs.
Okay. So even if I really like my wisteria bush, it's important that it not, grow all the way around my house?
That's important.
Okay, good.
Another thing you can do recovering from the wintertime is to clean your walkways, your driveways, your walkways. They're at the point now where algae will really start to grow because the temperature's starting to come up. When the temperature was colder, it didn't grow like it does now. But those green areas that you'll see on walkways and driveways, if you find a way to remove that, it'll keep it safe to walk on, no slipping hazards. And it can be done either through chemical treatment or pressure washing. Just the thing to remember, whenever a homeowner uses a pressure washer, don't use such high pressure that you damage the surface that you're doing, but more importantly, just remove the unwanted stains.
Good.
Yeah. The other thing that I would include would be to take a look around your exterior, around your windows and siding and trim. Everywhere there's a painted joint, I call it, so where your siding hits your trim, where your trim hits your window, the wintertime will, again, through the cold temperatures, cause expansion and contraction.
Okay.
And it will leave cracks, little minor cracks along those areas that are paths for moisture intrusion. And now that we're through the winter, what better time to protect that is to seal those up before we get to the rainy season. Again, it keeps the home healthy, keeps moisture out.
And what do you use to seal that?
Typically, for the exterior, I would use an acrylic type of caulk. They make a butyl type of caulking. Unfortunately, it doesn't tool well, and it really doesn't leave a nice finish. It's more for large openings. but yeah, acrylic type exterior grade caulking.
And then if it's real big, they can just paint over that?
Yep, and it's
Okay.
paintable, and they can make it look good as new.
Perfect, perfect. Now that's the outside of the house, and I'm sure there's some other things we can think about for inside.
Oh,
What
definitely.
would you recommend there?
I'd say the first most important thing is to take a look at your filters. Furnace filters,
Right.
return air filters. In many cases, people's filters may be the fiberglass kind that are replaceable and you throw them away. They may be a metal type of filter that can be washed and replaced.
Okay.
But it's recommended to take a look at your filters monthly, but definitely clean them every 3 months.
Okay.
In some type of furnaces, they will have electronic air filters, which are a separate box that's in line with the ducting. And those too, much like your replaceable filters, you want to pull it out, wash it off, makes for good quality, healthy home air.
Okay.
So that's really important. At the same time, we generally test our smoke detectors, or we're supposed to test our smoke detectors at the daylight savings time,
Right.
changes. However, it may have tested well at that point, but it's still important, and now is a very good time to just take a couple of minutes, test the smoke detectors, and we hope all of them work. If not, we replace batteries as needed. Something else to remember about smoke detectors is that they are said that at about 15 years of age, 80% of your smoke detectors will have failed. While they may test correctly when you push the button, they lose their ability to sense smoke and fire the way that they did originally. So it's recommended every 15 years, if you've got old smoke detectors, to replace them.
And swap them out.
Yep, and the same with your carbon monoxide detectors. If you don't have one, definitely get one for each floor of the home.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
We also have the dryer vent, which I think is important. We all use our laundry probably more than we
All the
want to.
time. Right.
And the dryer vent is a source for fire hazard. Lint will build up in the dryer vent, and over time it can clog the vent opening, and it can also clog the duct itself. So there's a number of ways to clean those. A simple way is to go to a hardware store, and they make these flexible tubes that connect to your drill, and it has a little brush on the end.
Okay.
And you can run that in the duct and pull it out, and it pulls all the lint that's out.
How long are they? Because I know, like at my house, I've got one vent that goes all the way up and through the roof.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy, but
It is kind of crazy. Well, depending on the kit you get, the one that I bought had 6 3-foot sections on it.
oh wow.
So they're
Okay.
smaller sections, and they screw together based on how far you need them.
Right.
And it's a great way to clean it. It's safe for the pipe, or for the ducts, and it makes for a fire-free
Right.
environment, which is really important.
And your clothes don't take so long to dry, which is even
Exactly.
better. Yeah.
And similar to the outside, caulking window trims is really important. Again, we've gone through the wintertime, which is expansion and contraction. A healthy home isn't necessarily an airtight home, but a healthy home helps manage unwanted air in and out of the home. So around windows, you'll notice minor cracks.
Okay.
Again, a caulking, however, an interior grade caulking is more of a latex caulking.
Okay.
It's easier to apply, it has a great finish, it's paintable, and it is really more designed for interior but not exterior surfaces. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, they say that about 10%, you could save 10% on your electrical bills by properly caulking and sealing your home, because there's so much energy,
Wow.
good energy that escapes out, but also air comes in. They also say that around 50% of people's utility bills in many cases come from air infiltration. So this extra air that comes in actually costs money over time as well.
Okay.
So it's a very good thing to do. The last thing I would say, because we just went through winter, is if you can and you're comfortable, go into your attic. Just look in your attic. Wintertime, if branches fall off of trees, sometimes we may not note it. But if there's any type of leak that may be starting, now's the time to catch it.
Oh.
Early prevention is definitely the key to saving money on expensive repairs, and also being able to resolve simple issues
Right.
before they become big ones.
How would they notice if there's a leak? What
Good.
are they looking for?
A good time to look is to look after it's rained and to look up along the roof sheathing, the underside, where typically they'll see nails poking through. Look for dark spots that look like moisture may be coming through.
Okay.
And a simple flashlight can shed light on a lot of bad things if they're up there. But most of the time, life looks good. The attic is nice and dry. But it's a great time to catch something if there is a problem.
Very good. Now, let's just say I would love to get out there and do all this stuff, but as far as cleaning the gutters, I'm not real good on a ladder. So how do we handle that?
Well, a couple ways. One, if you're not comfortable on a ladder, don't go on a ladder, definitely.
Okay.
Call the neighbors, call the friends, but definitely don't do things you're not comfortable with. That is in regard to specific tools, regard to heights, and especially at this time of year, getting up on a roof can be risky because
it's slippery.
it can be slippery,
Right.
and so for a qualified professional, okay, but if you're not comfortable, definitely don't do that.
Okay.
So safety, ladders, and tools work within your comfort zone.
Okay. Very good.
The things that are important to do is, number one, do the maintenance.
Okay.
Because the little bit of time and money it may take to do the maintenance now will save thousands of dollars and hours of work down the road.
Right.
But personal safety comes first.
Okay.
But a healthy home means happy families, and we want to keep everyone that way.
There you go. Very good.
Thanks.
Thank you again so much for coming today, Keith, and we'll give you information on how to reach Keith Medley with final phase inspections. Let's just say that somebody has maybe some specific inspection questions. How would you handle a particular repair that needs to happen? Do you need to have a repair? I would assume that you're available for consult on any question like that.
Absolutely. They can reach me through my website, through my email, or phone. Phone number for me is 206-755-3310.
Super. And we'll print that on the screen as well so you can
Great.
see that. Thanks again so much. Have an awesome day, and we look forward to giving you more house information soon.
Bye-bye.